and welcome to another episode of A Closer Look. Thank you for joining us. The 28th of May seemed anticipated since February this year, after attempts at the vote of no confidence against Prime Minister James Marape. With the prospect of another vote of no confidence looming, it is important to understand the processes involved and what to expect. In parliamentary services, the ONC is part of the checks and balances on the government. The Constitutional Planning Committee and the writers of PNG's constitution included this in Section 145 of the Constitution. Motions on the ONC is one such mechanism to ensure government is held accountable. Emphasizing this, former Prime Minister and current MP for Yalibu Pangia, Peter O'Neill, stated that a VONC allows the frustrations and anger of our people to be properly and without violence heard in the parliament. It is one of the reasons we have experienced so little serious social demonstration and unrest in our country, because our people know that our democracy has avenues for them to be heard between elections if our country is not being led well. In a paper by lecturer Patrick Kaiku from the Political Science Department of the University of Papua New Guinea, when the opposition seeks to move a motion or vote of no confidence during a session of parliament, it must file a notice paper for submission to the Parliament Business Committee or PBC. The important elements for this include: firstly, there must be a mover for a vote of no confidence and a seconder of the motion. Secondly, reasons for the vote of no confidence must be of national importance or will be rejected by the PBC. Thirdly, the opposition must clearly state the name of the alternate Prime Minister on the notice paper. And finally, the notice paper must be countersigned by at least 1/10 of the total MPs in Parliament. Since PNG has 118 MPs, 12 MPs must sign onto the notice paper for it to be valid. The notice paper is then submitted prior to Wednesday, the day the PBC meets. This process was carried out during the first week of the previous parliament sitting, where the MP for Kiriwina Goodenough, as opposition leader, moved the motion and Abau MP Sepuka Temu seconded. The alternate Prime Minister nominee was Alan Bird, the provincial member for East Sepik Province. 12 MPs from the opposition signed on the notice paper. The PBC identified an error, however, and notified the opposition to correct the minor defect. The notice paper was resubmitted thereafter for the PBC to reconsider on Wednesday, the 21st of February. Come Thursday, the 22nd of February, before Parliament adjourned, the acting speaker announced the notice for a motion of confidence vote for Prime Minister James Marape. Citing what seemed unsupported and unclear defects related to the February 14th version of the notice paper, the then Deputy Speaker dismissed entertaining a reading of the notice and, through the leader of the government business, promptly adjourned Parliament for the 28th of May. As the anticipated Parliament sitting draws nearer, it is unpredictable as to what can take place on the floor of Parliament. This is evident in the movement of leaders from one side of the House to the other. Here are some of the public's view on the matter.
The number of the MPs that we have in the country, they are representing us, the 10 million people. So if they think that the country is not running smoothly, or if it is running smoothly, it's all up to them. They are human beings representing us in the parliament. They see what's happening in the country, so they have to make the call. If the current government is running smoothly, then they let it run. If it is not running the way we supposed to be, and then they can do what they want to do.
Tok lo change government and same problem and stop yet. So we can change current PM and the next PM will just do the same thing. It's not good to change the current government.
Country blue, sabos working, but we said working. Pampla man not set by now can work in country. Prime Minister of Australia or Prime Minister of China by na belum country blame. Country salan people members so. And time people member lo exercise la democratic right people na. People must work na lari imi movies la Prime Minister out because fit lo by running la country again.
La mokota sanding come up lo plan lo big man so. Suppose on big man lugu mo sam disla o change marabe naam stab lugu mo sam inogula ba change na la Prime Minister again. Suppose am lugu mo sam gula ba surugum na la time again.
At this point of time, the opposition seemed undeterred to motion yet another vote of no confidence come the parliament sitting on the 28th, saying they will bring in the numbers. As of Saturday evening, 18 members of parliament were noted to have moved from the government side to the opposition, 5 of whom being ministers. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister, James Marape, maintains that the government remains steadfast. In a statement, he said, "We are not deterred by any conversations on a vote of no confidence despite all the hype. If a vote of no confidence is put up, the parliament process will deal with it. The title Opposition of Prime Minister is not my birthright, as I have said many times. If there's anyone else out there who is better than me, then they can take over. I am only doing my part in the time that I am here." Prime Minister Marape also noted that constitutional bills the government will bring to the parliament sitting includes the declaration of PNG as a Christian country, the second and final readings, and PNG's court structure amendments and proposed amendments on the vote of no confidence, filing attempts and the grace period for government following an unsuccessful vote of no confidence. He mentioned that the National Gold Corporation Bill 2024 will not be brought to Parliament in this sitting, but will be allowed for further consultations without removing the goal of establishing a gold refinery in PNG. After this break, we will take a look at the major restructure of the court system. Stay with us. Welcome back to a closer look. The legislature has enacted a record number of amendments to the Constitution, fundamentally reshaping the roles, functions and responsibilities of the judiciary. This overhaul signifies a major transformation in the judiciary's duties and powers.
In a bid to ensure a lawful environment for the economy to thrive, the government is embarking on a significant overhaul of the court system in the country. This move comes as part of a fundamental change aimed at enhancing the efficiency and effectiveness of the higher courts. One of the key changes proposed is the substantial increase in the number of judges from the current ceiling of 40 to 200. This increase is deemed necessary to address the long-standing issue of backlogs and delays in court cases. Justice and Attorney General Minister Pila Niningi said presently the ratio of judges to cases stands at an average of 1 judge to 200 cases, leading to prolonged legal proceedings and delays in justice delivery.
In the past, they put ahead, and now this time we're selecting the people. We approach them individually. If we think that judges, they think that they present well, you are worthy to be considered, then they consider them. At the moment, now we have confirmed 43 judges. That is including the nationals as well as foreign judges.
The proposed restructuring also entails a major overhaul of the roles and responsibilities of the judiciary, with a record number of amendments to the Constitution expected to be introduced by the legislature. These amendments aim to redefine the functions of the court and streamline their operations to ensure greater efficiency in dispensing justice. The Department of Justice and Attorney General Secretary Dr. Eric Kwa emphasized the importance of the proposed court restructure in addressing the pressing need for more judges to handle the growing caseload. Dr. Kwa expressed optimism that the proposal, once presented to Parliament, would garner approval, paving the way for the implementation of the much-needed reforms.
Constitutional amendment to restructure the higher courts. The proposal to restructure the higher courts began in 2010 when the judiciary realized that they are dealing with a huge or large number of cases, and the bottleneck is between the Supreme Court and the National Court.
However, the approval of the court restructure would necessitate several amendments to existing laws in the Constitution. These amendments are crucial for providing the legal framework to support the proposed changes and ensure their effective implementation.
And then we didn't have enough judges. The ceiling at the time was 40. So 40 judges dealing with over 11 million people. And so the proposal was to insert an appeals court. So that proposal went before Cabinet in 2013. The Cabinet did agree. Then we did start the drafting of the amendments. That amendment went to the Parliament in the 2012-2017 Parliament. And in that Parliament, they only went for the first reading, the first vote, and then it stopped.
Parliament is set to take its final vote on the proposed court restructure during this month's sitting. If approved, the restructure is expected to bring about significant improvements in the judicial system, reducing backlogs and enabling the courts to serve the people more effectively. Adding on to that, Minister for Justice and Attorney General Pelaniningi said they will also work closely with the change from court systems data recording from analog to digital.
Very advanced it's almost completed, the transition. So I mean, I'm happy with the Chief Justice and his group is doing it. And the new court will be fully functional then.
We will now take a quick break, and when we return, we will take a closer look at an effort by the Papua LNG and PNG ports to preserve and grow mangroves. You're watching a closer look. The need to protect and preserve mangroves along the National Capital District and Central Province coastlines has greatly increased, especially with the rising tides and erosion becoming common along the coastlines. 3 of the country's corporate giants have recognized this need and have agreed to work together to start growing these important plants along the Motukea International Terminal. This agreement has a high chance of expanding to other parts of the country.
Mangroves cover about 53,000 to 77,000 square miles of the Earth's surface. That is roughly about 38,000 to 200,000 square kilometers. There are about 80 different species of mangrove globally, and Papua New Guinea is home to 33 of these species. The island of New Guinea, comprising of both Indonesia and PNG, is home to the world's richest mangrove species. With the increase in climate change, change in weather, technology advancement, and advanced mining and shipping facilities in the country, this particular forest vegetation has slowly been dying out. Hence the reason for the MOU signed 3 days ago. The 21st of May marked a budding partnership between PNG Ports Corporation Limited, Total Energies PNG, and the Motukea International Terminal. The Memorandum of Understanding was signed to start planting about 700 mangrove seedlings, comprising of 6 different species in the Fairfax Harbour, Caution Bay, the NCD, and possibly Central Province coastlines.
All here, the corporates and myself, Governor of our capital city, want to call on everyone in our country, but more particularly here in Port Moresby, to protect this wonderful plant, mangroves.
Total Energy's acting managing director, Arnold Bettet, said this MOU is a significant opportunity to further environment sustainable initiatives that will benefit all people in communities that live within and depend upon coastal resources.
Project partners have been working very hard to avoid and minimize any impact or disturbance that may be caused on mangrove during the construction phase. And as part of the project mitigation strategy we have developed together
with its unchallenged expertise in providing port infrastructure and safe and secure facilities for moving cargo around the country, the risk stemming from rising sea levels is high. PNG Ports CEO Neil Peppenfuss said PNG Ports is ready to work with all development partners and stakeholders to see the mangrove vegetation thrive.
This initiative to replant and grow mangroves and restore the natural habitat and ecosystems is commended because not only are we protecting the coastlines, but we're also saving businesses like ours that operate on the waterfront.
The International Container Terminal Services Inc. South Pacific Limited CEO Robert Maxwell said this MOU is important in preserving mangroves and the coastal and marine ecosystems.
Through this agreement, we affirm MIT's commitment to decarbonisation in general and preserving and restoring these invaluable ecosystems in particular. Our collaboration with Total Energies and the PNG Ports Corporation underscores the power of collective action in addressing environmental challenges by leveraging on our expertise, resources and networks.
The NCD governor present at the MOU commended the initiative taken by the three companies. Mr. Pakop said we have a big responsibility to our future generations and the world. The manager for Motu Koitabu Assembly, Marikila, said mangroves are interwoven into his people's culture and survival.
Mangroves are more than just trees. For us that have lived and our ancestors that have lived and survived, they're the lifeblood of our coastal communities, providing food, medicine and shelter. They protect our shorelands from erosion, serve as nurseries for fish, and store significant amounts of carbon, helping to mitigate global warming. The loss of mangroves directly threatens our livelihoods. It has, and it will, culture and biodiversity. As such, we wholeheartedly welcome and support the mangrove conservation and rehabilitation program launched today. And we hope that the people of Motu Koita along the coastline will fully participate in these programs.
He said this is a great initiative and he hopes is welcomed in other parts of the Central Province.
And that's all we have for you on this episode of A Closer Look. Join us same time next week for another episode. On behalf of the entire team, thank you for watching and pleasant viewing.